Welcome to DMI's Next Sale, the podcast that covers everything financial professionals like you need to know in the annuity and life insurance space. Join us as we talk with experts about products, sales techniques, operations, and current events that directly affect your next sale.
Hello there, everyone. This is Glenn Setchfield, Vice President of Marketing at DMI.
Imagine a market of nearly 3 million potential clients, largely untapped and eager for guidance. These federal employees represent a significant, often underserved audience, and DMI has the keys to unlocking it. With our proprietary, comprehensive federal employee webinar program, we're offering you an exclusive opportunity to expand your business and make a profound impact on a market that needs your expertise. This isn't just another marketing strategy. It's a game changer designed specifically for top-level advisors. We are seeking the best of the best. Why did we build a program to target this market? Because federal employees have spent their careers serving our country, often without the recognition their pensions and benefits deserve. They need education and guidance to secure the retirement they've earned. The education requirement, which DMI's Federal Employee Webinar Program is approved to offer, gives you a built-in captive audience of 3 million potential clients. We saw it as a unique opportunity to provide real value and grow your client base significantly. Today, I'm joined by Kevin Jones, an indispensable partner in our program who brings more than 20 years of expertise educating federal employees on how to optimize their retirement. Now, an interesting fun fact that might embarrass Kevin if he doesn't know this, but he probably does. Attendees have ranked Kevin's presentations at a 4.9 out of 5. Not a perfect 5, but we can't have it all, right, Kevin?
I try so hard.
So close. You're so good, though. So together, we're taking the most successful federal employee webinar program in the country, and we're putting it together with the best in industry marketing group. And it's only for DMI partners. So let's dive in and discuss some of the questions we've already had regarding this program. So Kevin, this one's for you. But we can go back and forth on all this. But what makes this demographic so fantastic? Like, why federal employees?
So federal employees are not like the typical Joe Q public American who is, looking to retire. These people they have a specific set of thoughts and that are really given to them as they become an employee. When they become an employee, they're basically told, we're going to give you a retirement. And they think, oh, I don't have to do anything about it. Very good. All right. And they say, we're going to give you this and this and this and this. I mean, all these different things. And they just kind of sit back and say, I really don't have to do anything. Just give it to me. A couple more things that really make them unique is that they crave stability. A lot of them. That's why they're in a government job, is because they know they can't get fired. To tell you the truth, I don't know if you've ever tried to or heard of anyone trying to fire a federal employee. It's almost impossible. It's so bad. So, there's stability there. They're good. And they like that into retirement as well. They like stability. They like to be sure that everything is unique. And another thing, they talk to each other like nobody's business. If something's good, they spread it and it's shared through everywhere. But if something's bad, they also share that as well. And so in a way, their minds are all synced. It's kind of like the Borg, right? Their minds are all just synced together, and it's really cool that way when it works really well. But again, when something doesn't work well, they also know it. So it's just some characteristics that make them really unique.
Well, that's great insight too. You might not get otherwise. So, and I guess the other question is, and I think a lot of people watching this are probably thinking the same thing. How complicated is this? Is it really that complicated? To deal with this audience?
Yeah. So let me give you a quick example. So federal employees 401k is called the TSP, the Thrift Savings Plan. And there was an advisor that I know, good guy, really, really good guy, wanted to do the best. He had a federal employee couple. They were both federal employees. They came in to see him and they said, hey, we want to move our money over to an IRA, which, is what everyone wants to hear. And that's great. Wonderful. Let's do that. So he said, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. So a month later, this couple gets a check in the mail for the whole amount of their TSP minus taxes. And they went to him and they said, excuse me, what the heck is this? And he goes, they made a mistake. Let me do this. Why don't we get on the phone right now and let's call them. So they called up the TSP and they said, hey, you made a mistake. And they said, well, how? You sent us a check instead of rolling it over. And they said, let me look. And the TSP went back and they said, actually, no, that's what you put. And goes, no. I made this check mark right here. And I said to do this. And they said, yeah, I know that's what it means on regular rollover paperwork, but on our paperwork, it's the opposite. So you did ask for a disbursement. And he was like, what? Are you kidding me? Okay, well, then let me give it back to you because, I can do that, right? I can give it back to you and we can redo this whole thing, right? And they said, yeah, normally you can with, maybe a 401k or whatever, but no, you can't do that with us. Sorry. That's what it is. And wow. Yeah, no kidding. And thankfully, this guy was good enough. He was a good enough guy that he reached into his own pocket and took out $15,000 and gave it to this couple to make up for taxes. But
really,
yeah. And then he became a specialist. And then he said, you know what? I got to learn this stuff because I can't afford to make mistakes like that. And that is just one little part of the TSP, let alone all the other benefits that don't go as normal and have thousands of exceptions and different rules that you would never think of. It is that complicated.
Yeah. So it's a pretty complicated web of federal benefits. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Lots of great. At least they get it, right? At least they get these benefits, which are great. It's just so complicated to and I'll tell you what, this is my conspiracy theory. Okay. This may not be regular held belief, but my little conspiracy theory, I'm doing this more in jest, but the more the federal employee doesn't know about the benefits, the better off the government is. So the government doesn't provide a whole lot of opportunity for them to learn about the benefits. And when they do, it is the most boring, dry stuff 2 days seminar you have ever slept through is really what it is. And so they almost have a feedback there to say, hey, let's not provide this information to them or let's do it on the minimal level so that we can actually benefit from it. Now, again, I don't think that's really what it is, but those are the circumstances under which they have to learn their benefits.
Right. And in some ways, I guess the free market system is that way too. Companies and their warranties and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I can imagine that with the government. Yep. No, interesting insight. I like the conspiracy theory. Very good. Thank you. So why did let's talk about this for a second as far as like why does the program work so well? I might have some process and logistical stuff that I can talk about. Yeah. But at a high level, why do you think it works so well?
Couple things here. First, when federal employees come to learn about their benefits, we have about 50% of the people who come to our workshops. See, the government says you don't have to learn about this until you're about to retire. So 50% plus of the people who come are within 5 years of retiring. And they're there. In fact, I remember one guy in North Carolina, he came in and it was a Tuesday and I said, when are you retiring? And he said, Friday. Really? And he goes, yeah, I just came to learn about what the government's going to give me. And I thought, wow, you have no idea of what's going on. And that is not uncommon. I mean, maybe not that close, but it's not uncommon. In fact, we have people come after retirement to learn about their benefits. And a lot of the decisions have already been made. And so they think, again, the government says, you don't need to know much. We'll give it to you. And that's the way it is. They come to our workshop just thinking, yeah, I'm just going to get some basic information. I have a couple questions and that's about it, right? And then the program is designed to take them on an emotional roller coaster. Your benefits are so awesome. They're great, but they suck. And they're like, what? I had no idea. Not that they suck, but that there's this huge pit that you don't even know about. There's this huge opening that you could fall into, and you got to be careful. And they're like, oh, I didn't know that. And then another one, it's great. But you got to watch out for these things. And they just go up and down and up and down. And by the end, they're like, holy cow. I had I would. In fact, our number one comment is, I wish I had done this 20 years ago. And so by the end of the workshop, they're saying, I got to get some help. I obviously know nothing. And the government was telling me I don't need to know, but obviously I do. How do I get that help? And that's where we can say, well, we have a resource for you to make sure that you get the help right here.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you, when do you think people ought to be involved in the program? You're right. It's like, it should be 20 years ago. But for those that are getting closer and closer to retirement, what's that threshold on, when does it become problematic for somebody? Is it, if they're a year out, 2 years out, 5 days out, 1 day out? When does it become problematic for them in terms of making sure that they get the benefits they deserve?
I don't know that there's a cutoff point, because really the longer that they wait to learn about this and start working on their benefits, the longer the wait, the more the government starts making decisions for them. And just overall, I mean, if you think about, Roth versus traditional, the earlier you can start in tax planning for that money, the better off you're going to be. But if you get to the very end and you say, oh, wait, I can do a Roth. Oh, wait, it has to be open for 5 years now. And the decision's made. No, sorry, you can't do it now. So it's just like that with all the other benefits as well. Okay. A good response. Well, you know what? So let's talk about the logistics of it a little bit, because I think part of what we're doing is just very robust. This is a soup to nuts program. And if we start with the list, because you can't do anything without a list, right? Right.
So the list segmentation and review is really important. I don't want to get into the secret sauce too much, but we're going deeper on the NAICS codes for federal employees and going line item by line item, contact by contact, to determine who's a federal employee versus who's a state employee and a local employee, because there's a big difference. This program is just for federal employees, correct?
Yes.
So I don't know if there's anything you might want to say about that. Is there anything important you might want to say about that?
Well, just that it is so targeted. I mean, you're not going to get a state employee in. Because if you look up, hey, I need government people. Well, that could be governments from other countries even, right? And that doesn't even make sense. You need U.S. federal employees. And to be able to target that's exactly what you don't want to waste your time on others. You want to get specifically to U.S. federal employees.
Yep. And then in your targeted area where you want to do business, right?
Yeah.
And then what's key here is that DMI is going to do everything for you in terms of managing that list, so you can get all the registration and attended numbers that you need to book more appointments. So that's one of the big benefits of the program. Also, we are managing a customer relationship management tool on your behalf, Mr. Agent. So you get your own sub account, and then that sub account is going to be loaded with email drips for invitations, webinar reminders, post webinar follow up. Then, we get to the webinar. There are auto appointment booking options. But then for those that don't book during or directly after the webinar, we also have built-in advocacy where we've got partners that can do phone follow-up for either webinar confirmation or booking afterwards, getting more booking opportunities for you. And then we also actually have a partner that will further help when it comes to the booked appointment with case design. So you can go in to your first appointment confident, feeling successful. I don't know if you have much insight around that aspect of the program, but how do you feel about the importance of going into your first appointment with the insights of a case design expert that understands federal employees and their benefits?
Yeah, because it is so complicated. Federal employees get a lot of benefits, and they have to all mesh together. Sometimes it's on the more simple end of, oh yeah, you can put this together and you're good. But sometimes, and in fact, a lot of times, it's really complicated. And to understand those rules can take years. So to have someone to back you up and say, I don't know, I've never seen this before, I don't have a clue of what to do. They can go, okay, this is how you do it. This is a form to fill out. This is and you can just look at that and go, great. And you go to your client and you look like the hero because you know it all. That's invaluable.
Yeah. What are federal employees looking for in retirement?
As I mentioned before, they want stability. They typically don't want to go back to work, which is not unusual, but we find that a lot of them do because they didn't plan correctly. And they're scared of that. I think there's a lot of scariness behind this for them, but at the same time, false confidence that they've been told that. So in retirement, they just typically just want to retire, but that isn't what actually happens in the end, just because they haven't put their benefits together correctly.
Yeah. No, good response. Yeah. So how would an advisor get up to speed if they don't know Fed stuff?
Yep. The Fed stuff is really complicated. And so we have a few different resources here. One resource we have is an online training that I've created that you can go through and learn all the basics, at least the basics, so that when you are first sitting in front of a federal employee, you look like you know what you're talking about, because that's the last thing, right? You don't want to get in front of them and they say, so, my TSP, your TS what? What is that? Oh, your 401k, and then try to translate that. No, you want to be speaking their language, and they do have a different language. And so you need to understand the vocabulary behind it. You need to understand the impacts, and you need to understand some of the basic rules. So we have an online training that will take you through that to get you up to speed, so that when you're sitting in front of the first one, you're confident in that. And then even after that, as I mentioned, when you say, oh boy, I've never had this question before, I don't know the answer, you have resources to turn to say, hey, what's the answer to this? How can we make this work? Or what do you do with this specific situation? Great. We'll help you figure it out. But there is the backup, and there is the training, and there is the learning on the front end as well. So for this program, you don't have to be an expert in the field of federal benefits, but you should have a solid foundation overall of retirement planning principles and finances and all of that, and options and you should probably understand it pretty darn well, because to learn that and then federal at the same time would be really difficult. So if you have a good foundation and you're one of the best, then great. You'll be able to add this knowledge on top of it without, trying to learn both at the same time. When you do that, then it's just a stepping stone to the next, to federal employees, and it'll be so much easier for you.
From my perspective, I think the phone support can be really helpful. I mean, if an agent has their own in-house support, that's great. That's perhaps even better. Because it's controlled, you can control the scripting, and but we have some great partners that can help with follow-up or actually just getting more people to a webinar, like confirmation of the webinar. Because it's not just about registration, it's about attendance, right? You can, I mean, if you've got 100 registrants, there's a good chance you're going to get, 50% attendee ratio, but that also is going to depend on some of the phone follow-up, just confirming that people are coming. And then of course, after the fact, then trying to get more booked appointments. And you can't do that without a little bit of phone support. I mean, we're providing email support in all these regards, but the phone support is critical. So I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah. One thing that's really interesting is that, and I think for those of you who've been through this with non-federal employees, you understand the importance of following up. You understand the importance of even before maybe an event to make some phone calls or whatever it is. And then there's so many little pieces that need to be filled that it may be little, but you have a whole bunch of little things that make a difference, and it adds up to something really big. And that in this program, those things have been thought through. This is years of experience all coming together to say, okay, we need to fill in that hole. We need to fill in that hole. How do we do it best? Let's do it this way. And at the same time, if, for example, Glenn, as you said, if you have an in-house group who makes some of those phone calls, great. But if you are an independent and it's just you, then maybe your strength isn't to make phone calls and get them on the calendar. Your strength is sitting in front of people and talking to them. Great. Let's make sure that you get the help that you need to fill in those holes. Whatever it is, we have a plan for making sure that this is going to be a success for you.
Who's this program for? I mean, we're talking about the best of the best here a lot, right?
Right.
How would you define that?
Again, someone who has a good foundation of helping people know how to retire. But when we talk about the best of the best, it's not only skill, but it's also heart. Someone who is going after their TSP, their 401k, if someone is just, I've got to get that nailed down, that's actually not the person we're looking for. Because what will happen is that attitude will be spread throughout the government between employees. They're like, all they wanted was my TSP, right? And they actually know to say that. They have been trained to say, all they want is my TSP. So they're looking for that. So we are actually looking for the best of the best of the heart as well, of people who just, these are federal employees who have spent their lives working on my behalf to make this country run. I want to give a little bit back. I want to help federal employees overall, even if it's, for example, with their health benefits, because I may not make any money off helping them with their health benefits, but it's an important part of what they need to know and do and learn and to save money, but still have the health benefits. Great. I want to help them. So if that's you, then that is what I would consider also the best of the best.
Yeah, and ideally somebody that also has built-in support staff and internal processes. But then again, we can help there too, right? And then I think somebody that could accommodate probably 15 to 20 appointments or more each month, minimally, I'd say. Because there are those out there that won't do it, they've got enough business or what have you, whatever the motivation might be, or lack of motivation might be, but they're just not there, right?
Yeah.
And maybe they don't need the appointments, but So I think somebody that's got the heart and the mind, professionalism, that's key. So, the other thing I'm going to throw into the mix here is that DMI wants to provide reimbursements for the right agents. So those agents that work hard and produce enough business, DMI is making reimbursements available. But we're not going to discuss details on this call. Your assigned DMI VP of Sales can help with that. But really, I think that's about it, Kevin. Unless there's anything that you want to add, I've got a little something here in summary that I'd like to say. But is there anything that you wanted to add about the program at all?
Yeah, just overall, this is not your normal, let's do a program type of thing. This is professional. This is totally professionally done. This is done with real intent, making sure that all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted, and making sure that everything is there. Because again, it's not the typical American that we're talking about. We have to be very, very specific in that. And that's what this whole program is designed around, to target that group in a way that they feel most comfortable. And honestly, and the whole point is to make sure that you get appointments so that you can grow your business. That's what the whole thing is geared around.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for being here, Kevin. I really appreciate it, man. And thanks for helping with the program. You've been so supportive. But I just, in summary, would like to say, just to wrap everything up, that, the DMI was founded over 3 decades ago with a clear mission to match people with the right financial products and connect them with dedicated agents and advisors. So our federal employee webinar program, it's the pinnacle of that mission. And DMI leads the industry in marketing services. There's no other IMO that's offering a fully integrated in-house webinar program for federal employees. So we took the most successful federal employee webinar program and the best in industry marketing group and put them together. And it's only for DMI partners. So, Kevin, I think people should partner with DMI, expand their reach, and grow their business.
Love it.
Thanks again for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
This was DMI's Next Sale podcast. Stay tuned for our next episode. For more information about this episode, additional resources, or to learn about partnering with DMI, be sure to connect with us on your next sale at dmi.com.